Hey, everybody. Hi, we're here talking about day 5 of the challenge. We're here at a different time today um, because it's Friday. And so I thought I'd come at you live at lunchtime instead of at 8 p.m. at night. Does that sound good? Super excited to be finishing up this challenge and just thinking about all of the different things that we talked about this week to try to boost everybody's energy at coming out of this kind of pandemic fog that we've all been experiencing. So, you have a lot of great tools in your pocket now, including the one that we're going to be talking about today, which is sleep and rest. So, today we're talking all about the connection between sleep and cortisol and our stress response that we talked about yesterday, and how you can take steps to kind of like get out of that stress cycle so you can get some more restorative sleep. So there are things that we can do. So we'll talk a little bit about that today. So um, last night was just an amazing discussion. If you weren't able to join us live, I really encourage you to go back and look at the video. It's probably the one right below me right now. And we talked about the stress cycle and how you can kind of get unstuck from it and the repercussions of being stuck in the stress cycle and what that does to your body and your health. So, today we continue that conversation with this connection between sleep and that stress cycle. So, if I think about when I was postpartum last year, and if somebody had told me, just get more sleep, I would have just laughed in their face because if you're on here and you're watching this and you have a newborn or a young baby, like I know the challenges with that. Our sleep is not ours. We're completely reliant on their schedule, and that is very hard. That is a very, very stressful period for many. So your body and your routine, like that's not really that's up to our newborns and our little kids. But once my baby started sleeping through the night, which was probably, about when she was like 8 months or so, like continuously sleeping through, I started realizing that I no longer was. And I don't know if that's been the case for you. I mean, you may be in the same sort of situation as me. You may have older children, and you're just finding that lately this year, especially, you're either having trouble falling asleep or you are doing what I was doing and kind of waking up at that like dreaded 3 a.m. time. Now, that's super common. There's something about like 3 a.m. in the morning where a lot of people, especially women, find that they wake up from a sleep. Oh, sorry. So, man, that was very frustrating for me. And I'm sure if you're going through it, it's also very, very frustrating for you. But to understand what's going on in our bodies, we have to understand the hormone cortisol. So, cortisol is the main hormone that's produced by the adrenal glands, which sit on top of your kidneys. And cortisol is essential for energy regulation in your body, and it's released in response to the stress. We talked about that response yesterday. How normal cortisol kind of comes in spikes. Like when there's a stressful event, we have kind of spikes of cortisol and when your body perceives that you're in danger. But it becomes an issue when the stress is ongoing. There's no end to that stress cycle. And so our bodies get stuck in it. And so when your bodies get stuck, um, we have these cortisol spikes that are happening when we're not actually in danger. We're not actually needing to have that spike in hormones. Um, and a lot of times that's when our stress hormones can go a little bit haywire. So when we're not stuck in this cycle, cortisol actually helps regulate our sleep cycle, meaning we have this big burst of cortisol in the morning when we wake up. And it gets us up and it gets us ready for the day. And then it's lowest, cortisol is lowest at night when we are ready to go to sleep. So if you're finding that you're waking up at weird hours of the night at 3 a.m. or having trouble falling asleep when it's time to go down to sleep, your body's basically saying that it's not safe for you to sleep right now. It's not safe to sleep. Okay, does that make sense? So I spoke last night about a very stressful job that I had a few years back. And I mentioned that one of the things that was happening to me was I was waking up in the middle of the night, feeling very panicky. So, cortisol spikes that happen in the middle of the night can make you feel that way. And look, many women that I talk to are either struggling to fall asleep at night or they're having those middle of the night wake ups, even if they're exhausted, especially if they're exhausted. So if that's you, give me a thumbs up in the comments. It's so common. This is all just regulated, or this is all related to cortisol regulation. So what can we do? So we all the things that we talked about this week, from Monday through Thursday, are all things that you can now keep in your back pocket to help you manage the stress cycle. We talked about sugar intake, which has a big effect. We talked about crowding out your plate with healthier, nutritious foods and keeping your energy in check by moving your body. So we also talk about today, now we can talk about steps to help ensure that the sleep that you are getting is restorative. Okay, so there are a number of different tactics that I talked about. Many of them I mentioned in the email that I sent out this morning. But I'm gonna chat about just a couple of them, about three of them today, the ones that I find the most interesting and the most helpful. So the first thing that I want to talk about is our exposure to blue light. So way back in the day, before electricity, our sleep cycles were determined and regulated by nature. So when it was light out, we had energy, our bodies were awake, and then when it was dark out, we went to sleep. So it seems pretty easy, right? So our pineal gland is in our brain, and that regulates our sleep cycles with the hormone melatonin. And you guys may have heard of melatonin as a way to a pill that you can take to help regulate that sleep. So over time, electricity came, yay, lights, and it exposed us to all this new light, including all of the technology that we're, sitting in front of all day long. And there's a lot of studies that the pineal gland is actually sensitive to blue light. So at the time, this used to be the only blue light we were getting was from the sun, but now we're getting all this blue light from our desktop computers, from our cell phones, from our television that we're watching. And to be honest, we're all sitting in front of it all day long. Even more so now, I think, with the pandemic this past year, because there's less that we can do outside of the house. So, here are a few things that you can do to help with the amount of exposure, because we can't just turn off our computers. We're not going to get rid of our cell phones. And TV is pretty much a lot of people's saving grace right now. So, there are blue light filtering glasses that you can buy pretty cheap on Amazon. And those help if you're just sitting in front of your computer at work. You can wear those to help with that. But the other thing that does help is just limiting the amount of blue light that you're getting about 30 to 60 minutes before you go to sleep. This really does help. And just one way that you can do this is just simply like put your phone away, turn off the TV, and just go upstairs and do like a light meditation or just your routine. And before you know it, you'll find that, it's been about 30 minutes. One of the worst things that you can do, which I'm very guilty of, is watching TV in bed or, scrolling on your phone before you go to sleep. So the other thing that I find very interesting is exposing yourself to sunlight between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. in the morning. So what this does is it allows your brain to say like, okay, I'm awake now, and I'm getting that blue light naturally from the sun. So it starts to regulate that cycle a bit. So just some things to keep in mind when it comes to blue light exposure and just how much we're getting in our life on a daily basis, and how this might kind of mess up our sleep cycle a bit. So if you're struggling with sleep, it might be a good idea to do some of these things on the regular. So the second thing that I have to help with some of your sleep issues is speaking your gratefuls. Um, if you can't sleep, if you're waking up in the middle of the night, we really need to slow our bodies down. They're on overdrive, and like I said before, it's likely that your body's feeling like it's just not safe to sleep. So, one thing that you can do is just focus on positive things. I know this sounds really simple, but focusing on what you're grateful for brings to the surface some of the happier things, the more calming thoughts versus, stress about work or things that happen during the day that weren't so great. Before bed, the past year, my husband and I made it a habit to tell each other, speak our gratefuls to each other. We said three things that we were grateful for the day. And I'm going to be honest, there were days where it was really hard to say three things, but we forced ourselves to, even if it was just being grateful for a really good meal, or a walk outside together as a family. Like those sorts of things do matter. Small things, but a big effect. And then, breathing exercises and meditation can always help slow down your nervous system. And the third and last thing to try, that's worked well for me, is just avoid emotionally stimulating stuff before bed. Um, my husband and I, we like to watch like Chicago PD. We like to watch FBI. So don't do that. Don't do what we're doing because that kind of gets you worked up, right? If you're struggling with sleep, it's best to avoid that. It's best to avoid difficult conversations late at night, the news, social media. The best thing that I've ever done is try to keep my cell phone out of my bedroom because when I was waking in the middle of the night, I was finding I was reaching for it. So not only does that blue light signal to your body to wake up more, it's also just stimulating things that you're reading, either whether it's like through, you know, just the news that you're watching or something that you're looking at on your phone. So just other ways to help relax you. Again, some of these things seem basic, but when they're put in effect, they can really help you if you continue to do them in a routine over and over again. So this is the end. I'm really sad, but this is the end of the 5-day energy challenge. And I've said it before. It really, really means a lot to me that you guys are on here and you're watching. It's been great knowing that I can help kind of relieve some of the stress of this past year and help kind of get you out of that brain fog. But it's also been really fantastic for me too, just getting my face out there as I'm starting up my business. So I focus on helping moms recover from burnout and stress through really simple strategies. And some of those strategies I talked about today. So you already have, some things in your pocket to go through if you're feeling it. But if you are looking for any more information, how you can work with me, just let me know. DM me, send me a message, send me an email, Colleen@balanceandbean.com, and we can talk further. I would really, really love it. I'm going to be hosting a weekly live. I'm probably going to start that next week. So if you ever have any questions that come up, it can be about food, nutrition, energy, sleep, stress, just post them in the group, and I'll just start to take some of those topics and just have like a live Q&A, so we can discuss things that are on your minds throughout the week. So happy Friday, guys. I hope these tips helped this week, and I hope that you feel empowered to try to calm yourself down, calm your body down after this stressful year, and restore some of that energy and vitality that you feel you may have lost. Get you feeling more like you. So hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.